First, we must talk about what is considered an acceptable contaminant level in drinking water. The numbers for each contaminant levels follow these guidelines from the EPA. Furthermore, our test kit shows the values that should cause some alarm.
So this is a picture of those levels, and we're using these. They are drinking water test strips. They are made by Best Prod. They have been certified to EPA's testing standards. Although they're not professional level tests, they should get all the information we need. As we look on the packaging, you can see that there are areas that are boxed off, and within those boxes is where you want your water to be. So if the scores are outside of those boxes, the colors are outside, they're not considered safe or up to the standards set by the EPA. So lead pipes are among our main concern. The CDC says that medical research has established a connection between early childhood lead exposure and future criminal activity, especially the violent nature. Numerous studies also link elevated bone or blood lead levels with aggression, destructive and delinquent behavior, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, and more criminal behavior. In adults, lead poisoning can lead to brain damage, kidney failure, and multi-system organ failure. Since we have found that there are elevated levels of lead, we asked a water testing expert how students in Purdue can keep themselves safe from lead contamination. Nate Benazak works at a residential water testing company in South Bend, Indiana, and told us that household filters like Brita and Pure filters are tested for how much lead they filter out. As long as students keep replacing their filters at designated intervals, they will not risk ingesting contaminated water.
Our findings are that the buildings that we tested, Helen Schleman has the worst water, followed by the Union, then Cary Quad, then the Walk, then Frida Parker, and then the best out of all of them was Tarkington. All these buildings, except for Tarkington, showed elevated water hardness levels and pH. Schleman and the Union showed an amount of lead that was detectable by the test strip, while this number was within the EPA's non-actionable limit, meaning that it does not need to be addressed. Students should be aware that their water is contaminated with lead and other harmful particulates. Because of this, we think that students should buy filtered water pitchers and water bottles.
So we just tested the levels in the Helen Schleman Hall where our class is, and we found that it was elevated levels of lead, zinc, manganese, fluoride, and carbonate. So they were all within the EPA's ranges. As you can see, like, it was all within these black boxes, but it was elevated.
We just tested the water at the Union, and they had a lot of elevated lead, but it was like within like the area where it was okay, and then their pH was all the way off the charts.
But I think I need to prioritize.
Right now, we're in Wall on the first floor. The water is significantly softer than the other buildings. There's more bromine, there's less iron. There is more chlorine than the Union. Lead is virtually zero at Wall. There is some zinc, not a lot. And there is about a perfect pH, it's right about 7 here. So Walk is definitely much better than the Union and Schleman.
Just tested the water at Cary Quad, and the pH is really high. There's a lot of carbonate, and surprisingly, there's literally no lead.
So we're at TARC, and this has been the perfect test strip. We just got perfect numbers on everything. Perfect pH of 7, no lead, no copper, no zinc. We are very surprised.
So we just did Frida Parker's water fountain, and we found that there is not like that much pH in it. There's a lot of carbonate, and the water is pretty hard.
So right now, I've got this water bottle. I put a copper jacketed bullet in here. So this is going to show us that the test is valid. It does test for lead, copper, and everything else. says. So, we'll see. The colors change. Oh, I got it flipped wrong. But for lead, it's showing we're at between 20 and 50 parts per million. And for copper, between 0 and 5 parts per million. So, this isn't, the particles are very large. It's not going to take, like, actually predict it, but it keeps getting darker. Lead especially. So, the strips do work, and they are giving approximations on what's in our waters. This is a bullet I pulled out of a cartridge this morning, and I sat it in a bottle of water for about 3 hours. And the Union and Schliemann both had higher levels of lead and copper than this lead and copper bullet. It was soaking in water for 3 hours, and we could see the particles in the water. So that's how bad the Union and the Schliemann's water is.